Welcome to Cape Ann Report. I'm your host, Maureen Aylward. Cape Ann Report is a weekly program that covers programs and events on Cape Ann, what's happening and who's doing what. And on this show, I have Jamie O'Hara, City Councilor at Large of the City of Gloucester, and also Vice President of the Magnolia Library and Community Center. Jamie, welcome to Cape Ann Report.
Thank you.
It's good to have you back.
It's an honor to be here.
So you're here to talk about your work with the Magnolia Library and Community Center, and it is not related to the Sawyer-Free Library in any way.
That is correct. We're totally independent. We are a nonprofit that's been in existence for 127 years.
I mean, this is a cultural institution in Magnolia.
It is.
Right?
It's the fallout shelter of Magnolia. We've used it many times for unfortunate events that have happened.
You mean like hurricanes and
fires?
Things
Fires have been a problem.
Oh, right. Magnolia always has so many fires.
Tony's Pizza being the latest, and we housed some of the unfortunate occupants of Tony's Pizza, and then the Ocean Terrace Apartments at the time, which was located on Ocean Ave and Flume Road, that burned, and there were dozens of families displaced.
Oh, and so they're able to stay at the library?
They were when that fire happened. Yes.
Oh, I didn't realize that was a service that the library provided.
We actually do have cots. We are prepared for that. You know, we hope that it never happens again, but unfortunate events such as that, it's part of life.
Right,
and,
absolutely.
We like to have it prepared.
So the Magnolia Library is, like I said, a cultural institution, and it has all these wonderful programs, and the art show that just happened, and there's a road race coming up as a fundraiser. So as a nonprofit and as an independent library, you have to do fundraising to keep it going.
Yes, to keep the lights on.
Yeah.
We have to raise funds. We have memberships, but which we're open to members. It's a $25 a year membership, but other than that, we have 3 major events to fundraise for the library. And August 26th, Saturday, we have the 41st annual road race, 5K and fun run for the children.
Is this I'm wondering, is it the oldest road race in Gloucester?
I think yes, to answer that question, correct. In its heyday, it was extremely well attended because there were very few road races. Actually, it was a 5-mile road race when it first hit the streets, so to speak, and we had up to 400 runners, 400 or 500 runners in its day. Today we're struggling as most road races because there's just so many of them.
There's so many. Well, it's a popular fundraising event, and you know, Rockport has their Motif #1 race, and there's like December race up here.
That's correct.
But you can't beat the scenery.
That's correct.
Magnolia.
It's a scenic run along Shore Road. It does the loop twice, so yes, it's a breathtaking run for the participants.
Right. And is it your most significant fundraiser of the year?
We have the art show, and then we have Taste of Magnolia that takes place in the fall. So we have 3 major fundraisers that help us, again, keep the lights on, oil in the fuel tank, and also it's getting the community involved. It's being a community center, we're always focused on getting the community involved.
And also it brings people to Magnolia too.
It does.
Yes. It's one of those out of the way special treasures in Gloucester that if people might find it, they might not find it.
Yeah, we recently hosted Generous Gardeners of Gloucester, Susan Kelly's group. And they had the tour of 12 gardens of Magnolia. That
must be beautiful.
Yeah,
the gardens of Magnolia are fantastic.
They had over 700 participants. So it was a Saturday that actually just took place as well.
That's great.
And that was really a breathtaking event for the participants. And they used the Magnolia Library as their focal point to work out of. So it was quite busy that Saturday, and
is it the focal point of the community? I mean, is it
No question, it's a hub of Magnolia.
It really is.
It is. But we reach out to many residents of Gloucester, as well as beyond Rockport and Manchester, come to the library for various groups and events and programs.
And the community center is well used, and it can be rented out.
It can be, yes.
Yeah, and it's a really wonderful space too.
It's
a gym, and it's a wonderful place to have
hall.
a
It's
function
very
hall.
warm. Natural light during the daytime, so it's a very cozy environment, and we think we're extremely reasonable for people that want to rent, and if you're a member, the rates are even less.
So anybody can join.
That's correct.
Right.
Yes,
and
we
it's
welcome.
like $25 to
That's
join.
correct, annual, yes.
You can just and use it. And the community center is also a center for seniors in the area, or do you have programs for seniors?
We do. Actually, the Gloucester Cape Ann YMCA has a longevity class every Friday, a Friday morning at 9:30. That's been going on over a year.
What does that include? Is it yoga, or is it different kind of
I think they have a lot of just mobility, stretching, things that our seniors can participate just to make them a little bit more agile. So it started off slow, but it's very well attended, and we're very pleased and happy to accommodate the seniors and others, because there are people that just general public that participate. And
it's a wonderful public service to have it right there.
Well, that's what we're all about, is helping the public utilize the space, the children of Magnolia and beyond. It's used by the local sporting teams. Obviously, it's inside. They can use the space, and they have used the space, whether it's football, baseball, field hockey, cheering. They've used the space for whatever they need to.
Yeah, and also the building is a historic building.
It's 127 years old.
I'd say that's historic.
Yeah, well, it's old.
It's old, and you need to do these fundraising activities to keep the building maintenance, right?
Yes.
Because there is no other way that the library is able to exist.
That's correct.
Right?
That's correct.
So.
We exist through fundraisers and the membership. It's owned by the members.
Oh, it's owned by the members.
Yes.
That's great.
Yes.
And the board is everyone's volunteer.
Everyone's a volunteer. Yes.
Yeah, such important. And so another thing that we were going to talk about is the Magnolia Library being the center for the Red Cross.
That's correct.
Right now.
Yeah, we recently partnered with the Red Cross, and we're hosting the Red Cross for blood drives. We've had 2 blood drives, one which was 2 weeks ago. They collected 39 units, and the one prior, which was 56 days prior to that, was 31 units. The American Red Cross was extremely happy at the turnout. We're thrilled to be able to host the American Red Cross and help the people who are so desperately in need of the gift of life being blood.
Right.
So we were thrilled when the Red Cross accepted us as a donor center.
That's wonderful. And of course, the Red Cross just put out an alert for the blood drive, and here we are having one in.
Yes, summertime's typically a difficult time for collections. This year has been more difficult for the Red Cross. So we worked very hard to try to get as many participants through the door to donate. And we have another one coming up in September 25th, Monday, from 2 p.m. to 7 p.m. And obviously we welcome anyone to consider calling 1-800-RED-CROSS and make an appointment, or they can walk in on that Monday, September 25th.
Oh, I didn't realize you could just walk in.
Yes, you can walk in. Yeah, they always, they'd like to streamline it as much as possible and have the donors make an appointment. It's easier for the donors, and obviously the Red Cross can kind of get an account at how many they can anticipate and for staffing.
So is this the only Red Cross center for blood drives in Gloucester?
No,
or are there
I
others?
think there are a couple others, but apparently the library has worked out well for them. The layout of the Magnolia Library and Community Center, as well as the donors, seem to enjoy the library.
That's a great service.
Yeah, and we have
that.
plenty of parking outside.
Yeah. One thing I wanted to go back to with the road race, just to be clear for our viewers, they can find out times, and because that's coming up quickly.
That's correct.
So they can find out times on your website.
That's correct. Our
And that
website,
information.
magnolialibrary.org.
Yeah.
The fun run begins at 8:30 on Saturday, August 26th, with the 5K beginning at 9:15.
And those fun runs are always great for kids.
Yeah, the kids seem to
Families
enjoy
and-
it,
yeah.
and the parents, older sisters or guardians, and whomever, they run with the children, and yeah, it's generally a well-attended and a fun event. The entire event is about getting the community involved and have some fun.
Yeah.
We also have a picnic, pancake breakfast after the race.
Oh,
So,
you do?
Yes, we do.
Oh, that's a great
So,
extra.
Yeah, and that's open to the
Cool.
public. We welcome them to participate.
Great. So the fun run's at 8:30, so families can come in and do that. And then
Yes.
the 5K starts at 9:15. And how long does that take usually runners to come in? Does the pancake breakfast start during that time?
Yes,
or
it's actually after.
runs?
Yes, actually after the fun run. It's a part of the fun run.
Oh, great.
The children and participants can have.
And
a pancake
that's on the
breakfast.
grounds of the library too?
That's actually in
Wonderful.
the hall, Jones Hall.
That's great.
Yes.
That's great.
Yeah.
Well, I know the Rotary has their big pancake breakfast coming up, but people can have two in about the span of a couple of weeks.
Yeah, the Rotary likes to think that it's this big, but the library is much larger.
The Magnolia Library is much bigger
Much larger.
than the Rotary pancake breakfast.
Well, we'll let them think that this is larger.
They'll have to go and compare the two. You
Yes.
know, who has the better pancakes?
That's correct.
Right?
Well, we know who has the better pancakes.
It's actually the Magnolia Library.
That's correct.
That sounds like a wonderful event.
It is. It is.
And you must really enjoy being part of the board because you grew up in Magnolia, and even though you're a councilor at large in the city of Gloucester, Magnolia is your home. And
Yeah, I mean, Magnolia is where I grew up, but the entire grew up in the city. We obviously going through the Gloucester school systems. We there was the neighborhood battles, and that's where the Magnolia Library, as a child, the board members of those days couldn't keep the children of Magnolia out of the library, and that's what we welcome of the children today of Magnolia and the city to utilize the Magnolia Library.
so you'd like
and
to see
Community
more
Center.
of the children in the neighborhood
No
using
question.
that as a
If-
focal point,
correct.
riding their bikes down there,
Yes.
having fun,
Yeah.
using it.
If there are various parents that have groups, the Boy Scouts, Girl Scouts, whatever the groups are, we welcome those groups to utilize the Magnolia Library and Community Center, and they can feel free to contact myself at 978-979-7533, or reach out on the magnolialibrary.org website for additional information, and we'd be more than happy to sit down with them and see if we can find a space and a time that works for them.
Yeah, wonderful. I mean, it's certainly a wonderful place for kids to be able to go to, and we don't see those groups of kids. I mean, sometimes I see a gang of young kids riding their bikes, or they need a destination oftentimes, and it's nice to know the Magnolia Library is there.
Yes.
For everyone.
Yes.
In that area. So. That's
Yes.
wonderful community service. Jamie, thank you so much for being on the show
Oh,
today.
thank you for having me.
And talking about your work at the library, and good luck with the pancake breakfast.
Thank you.
And the road race, and also the other things that you're doing to build community in Magnolia.
Yes,
So
thank you very
for
much. It's
being
been
on
an
the
honor
show.
to be here.
Great. Well, thanks for joining us again. For our viewers, please try to get down to the road race. That fun run is wonderful for young families, and take a look inside the Magnolia Library. It's really a beautiful building. Until the next time on Cape Ann Report, take care.